What's going on, traders? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be going over Euro USD. Is a trade that I took that ended up making me around $3,000, and that $3,000 is exactly what my payout is going to be. So I'm expecting a payout on my Rocket 21 200k prop firm account. If you've been following the channel, then you know all about that. I am fully funded on that one, and I have a $100,000 account with another prop firm. I believe it's Funded Trader Plus, that I'm working on as well. But this trade allowed me to make $3,000 to get my first payout ever. This is the first money I've ever seen while trading Forex. And it's 3 years in the making. So I'm supposed to get it, I believe I can withdraw on the 28th. So as soon as the 28th come, that's the first thing I'll be doing. But let's go ahead and get into this video. Let's go ahead and get into this trade, and let's see how it worked out. All right, so you guys know we always start on the higher time frames, just to determine where our bias is headed and what exactly we're going to be looking for. So here on Euro USD, we see that the weekly is bearish. We know it's bearish because price was headed bullish going up in this direction, and then it ended up body closing under this previous level of structure, making this then the lower low, and this remains as the lower high, or turns into the lower high. So price will remain bearish if it continues down in this direction and ends up body closing under this level of structure. It will remain bearish, or it will turn bullish if price ends up breaking above this level of structure, then creating a new higher high and making this level the new higher low. But in our case, it was bearish, which is all that we needed. So let me go down to the daily. So let me go down to the daily, and then we could check what the daily was doing. So on the daily chart, we can see that price was bullish coming up to our area of interest, which is perfectly fine. The weekly was bearish. So if we're going to take this trade, ultimately, I would want the daily to be bearish as well. And since it went bullish, that's fine, because we're not taking a trade up here. We was taking a trade over in this area. So as we see, price was bullish. And once it got to this area and ended up breaking below, body closing below this level of structure with this candle right here, that's when price became bearish. Now, one thing that helped me when it came to just looking at candles, because again, I use the 2 candle rule like this or like this that I've mentioned before. I use that for structure as well. Now, even though this is only 1 candle, I ended up going to the line chart, and this is something that has helped me. And you guys see how big this candle is. This is a daily candle, daily red candle. So I went to the line chart and noticed how big it was on here as well. This is pretty big. So I consider this an area, or excuse me, I consider this structure. Even though it wasn't 2 candles, I still consider it structure, because I went to line chart and I see, you know what, that's a pretty big move back to the downside. I could see that being used as structure. Not only that, it also bounced off the area of interest going back up. So that's why I wasn't scared to look at that and think, okay, yeah, even though it's not 2 candles, price still closed above this level of structure, then making it bearish. Not only did I consider this big candle as structure, but I also noticed something with that candle. And you guys could probably already see it. This looks like a head and shoulders pattern on the daily time frame. So with this break under, that's a confirmation that it is actually a head and shoulders pattern, because if it doesn't break under, there's no confirmation that it's a for sure head and shoulders pattern. Let me actually get the head and shoulders tool and show you guys. So this is what I saw on the daily. Head and shoulders, confirm head and shoulders once it broke under here. Now, once it broke under there, all I was looking for was just a retest of the neckline. A retest of my area of interest. Once I got that retest, that's when I went down to a lower time frame, and then I went ahead and looked for my entries to go ahead and take the trade. And let me say this, for some reason, and I've been seeing it all month, price never really came back to a lot of my zones. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this thing just happens in January, but I would have multiple zones lined up. Price would come sort of like this, and then it'll then drop, or it'll come closer up to like this, and then it'll then drop, but then it will never actually reach my area of interest. So this one I thought was going to do the same thing, but I noticed on the daily candle, I believe it was news that pushed this one up. News had pushed this up to my area of interest, and I was like, you know what, bet, let me just keep an eye on it, not automatically hop in the trade just because it's out of the area of interest. I still need my entry, but let me just keep an eye on it and see what happens. So now that we know that the weekly's bearish, the daily's bearish, that's already 2 time frames in sync. I already know what my bias is. I'm looking to sell Euro USD, and that's exactly what I was looking to do on the lower time frames as well. So on the 4-hour, we see that 4-hour was bullish. Doesn't mean nothing to me. I could care less because I already have the daily and the weekly in sync. Okay, so here on the 15-minute, you guys should already see it. I saw this head and shoulders pattern. Beautiful head and shoulders pattern. And again, it's not confirmed until it breaks under. So head and shoulders pattern that ended up breaking under. And all I was looking for again was a simple retest of the neckline. So in this case, this was the higher high. This was the higher low. I needed price to break under this higher low, which it did right here. Give me a retest, which it did. Let me zoom in for you guys. Give me a retest in this area, which it did, with an engulfing, and I went ahead and took that. Now, this was around 4 o'clock. So, of course, the market closes at 5. So I wasn't too excited or confident to hop in it just because the market closed at 5. And I also didn't want the swap fees that came with holding the trade during the 5 o'clock hour. So even though I did hop into this trade, how much did I make? I believe I made around 6 something. I'll probably pop up a screenshot of how much I made just during this trade. But I hopped out before 5 because I was already up 6 something, and I was like, you know what? Let me not even mess around because I don't want to swap fees and all that. So I literally ended up taking out the trade around this area right here for around 600. So this brought my account up to 200,000, 600 something. So I'm up on the account. I'm chilling. And then take my profit, and then I hop out. 5 o'clock happens, blah, blah, blah. And now 6 o'clock comes, and I'm looking for just the same thing. I'm looking for another retest, except now I'm not looking for it on the 15-minute. The 15-minute already gave me the retest. And I could have hopped in right here on this bullish engulfing, but I wasn't really a fan of that. So I went to the 30-minute. And honestly, this trade was super easy. I noticed the same thing on the 30-minute, and you guys should be able to notice it as well. Just like on the 15-minute, another head and shoulders pattern. This one was, I'm telling you, this trade was clean. So confirm head and shoulders pattern once it broke under. Gave me this retest. And y'all should already be able to see it. A doji with the bearish engulfing candle. So this was my original entry. This was my original entry right here. Stops above, of course. 25. Cake. No issues, no problems. I was going to let it ride out. Wasn't even going to touch it. Wasn't even going to look at it. Nothing crazy. Sorry, I'm trying to get the actual trade popped up for you guys. Nothing crazy. However, I ended up going to sleep a little early. Woke up around 1 something. And I was just going to let it ride out throughout London session. But I ended up closing the trade. I don't know if you guys could see it. Hopefully. If not, I'll review it and just pop it up. But I ended up closing this trade with a $370 loss just because it didn't push down already. And I was a little nervous, I'm not going to lie. And I was also risking 3% on that trade. So I ended up closing somewhere up here. And before I went back to sleep, I was thinking, you know what? This trade is too clean for me not to hop in, not to trust my analysis, not to just let things play out and accept the risk. That's one thing that I've noticed even with the 200K account. I have to accept the risk. If I press buy or sell on a trade, I have to accept the risk. I have to live or die with whatever happens, because I did my analysis. I got to trust myself, and I have to accept the risk. I can't be cutting losses early. So this was my second entry on my 200K account. Excuse me, no, it wasn't. This was my first 100K account entry. So I entered on the 200K and I entered on 100K. So this one should really be down here, and then this one should be up here. So this right here was my second entry on my 200K account. And what had happened was news came out today on Thursday for the euro and for USD. So as we see here, we had major red folder news for euro and for USD. And as we see, the GDP for USD came out good. The unemployment claims came out bad. And then we also had this press conference for the euro. So all throughout this time, I'm holding. I wasn't originally going to hold. So once I took that $300 loss or whatever it was, closing out my trade early, I was only up $140 something dollars. And I was able, as I mentioned in the intro, I could get a payout on the 28th. So I just wanted to get a payout. I wanted to get my refund back that I put into buying the account. So I just wanted to stay up for the month. So I was nervous all throughout holding all of this. And especially with the news, price was jumping up and down, and price was just going crazy. But I ended up holding it, and it wasn't until, what's this, around 9 o'clock-ish that price finally ended up dumping down. And I left a lot of bread on the table. I'm not gonna lie. This would have probably been maybe $20,000, because that's, like I said, I was risking 3% on my account, 200K account. If I would have held all this, it would have been easily around $20,000. But my main goal was just getting up a little bit, getting that first payout, and then getting my refund back, because then I just got 200K account for free, literally. So once I saw price start to come down, then I immediately just took out my trade. Of course, in hindsight, I should have held it, but I didn't. But I still ended up with $3,000 in profit. I'll pop that up on the screen because I don't think you guys will be able to see. But I ended up with $3,000 in profit, literally $3,000 on the dot. So for this first payout, I'll be getting a payout of $3,000, or excuse me, with the 85%, I think it was like $2,500. So I'll be getting $2,500 for this first payout. And with this trade, this was on my 100K. I could pop up the screenshot as well. But this account brought me back up to 100,000. Like I said, if you guys have been following the journey, you know I was down 7% with the 100,000 on phase 2. So just working through it, following the trading plan has allowed me to get it back up to the original starting point. And we should be passing that, honestly, pretty soon. And yeah, that's pretty much the trade that I took that allowed me to get my first payout. Super excited, but the work doesn't stop there. It's actually just beginning. I believe even just with this trade right here, show me that, you know, this really like GTA money. As long as you follow your rules and, you know, you take the correct trades, you take high probability trades, then you can make a lot of money and you can really change your life, which is what I'm trying to do this year. I'm focused, I'm locked in, and I'm gonna just try to get it. But that's going to be the video for this week. If you guys are enjoying the content, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have not checked out my other content, go ahead and check out the page. I really appreciate it. And with that being said, I look forward to trading with you guys next week. I'm out.